Hi guys, my name is Favor if you're just meeting me for the first time, and today I'll be talking about how to prepare for a support worker's interview question. Please just stick around and enjoy the video. So the most common question in any interview is the tell me about yourself question. So this question is just meant to put you at ease and get you to start talking. So what you want to do is you want to tell them what you've been doing since you finished your university. That's if you attended one, of course. Tell them all the jobs you've been doing, but you make sure to start from the recent one. Tell them your accomplishments, your job role, what you do. If you've trained people in that role, you want to tell them this is actually a chance for you to brag about your achievements. What I will not advise you to do is tell them jobs that you did that are not important. Start from the recent one and just get straight to the point. Okay, you don't want to bore them out, you don't want them to get tired of listening. The next question is, what is your interpretation of a support worker's role? So now, even if you have experience as a support worker or you don't have experience as a support worker, they will still ask you this question because they would know that obviously before you are interviewing for this position you must have done your research. So you should be able to tell them at least a thing or two about what you think is going to be the day-to-day activities of a support worker role. The interviewer is looking for an insight into your knowledge of the care sector. So he wants to know if you understand what a support worker role is meant to be, if you understand what a support worker is supposed to do, if you understand what a day-to-day in the life of a support worker is all about. You want to tell them what the duty of a support worker is, that you understand that as a support worker, you know that your role is going to be caring for people with mental health conditions, learning disabilities, physical disabilities. You're going to be helping them to shower, to dress up, you'll be taking them grocery shopping, you'll be taking them for sports, for different activities. In fact, you're just supporting them for their day-to-day life. So you can refer back to your job description on your CV if you've been a support worker before, and you can just tell them the things you did in your previous job. So as a support worker, what was a challenging experience that you've encountered before and how did you deal with it? As a support worker, you often meet different challenging situations, and your interviewer or your potential employer just wants to know how you can handle those situations when you come face to face with them, when you start working with them. So you want to tell them what you've done before. Like in your previous job, there's a possibility that you've had challenging situations or behaviors that have escalated that you've dealt with before. So you want to tell them how you've dealt with it. If, for example, you had a student that was always running off, how did you deal with that student, or how did you deal with that situation? Or if you've had students that will cause a scene in a supermarket, how would you deal with it? These are the kind of things that the interviewer will want you to talk about. So this is your chance to actually tell them how you've dealt with situations like this before, okay? But make sure that when you're telling them these things, make sure to mention that when you were faced with these situations, that you made sure to follow the company's procedures and guidelines. They don't want to feel that you were just doing things on your own without any guidance or without following company's procedures. So even while, for example, you are in the supermarket with your students alone, you're shopping, and the student starts showing these challenging behaviors, before you even decide to call the police, make sure to call your organization first. They don't want to be hearing about incidents that happen outside from the police station. So make sure to call your company first and get their approval. If they say call the police, then you can call the police, okay? That is if it's very challenging, of course. How do you assess a client's needs? So as a support worker, you need to be able to strike a balance between advising, helping, and letting clients use their own abilities. So you need to emphasize on the importance of clients' independence. So you don't want to be helping your clients to do everything. So you can tell them an example that before I take my client shopping, I want to discuss with my client and ask what he or she needs that we need to get from the supermarket, okay? So we want to be able to compile a list together and not just me making decisions for my clients. I just don't want to go to the fridge and check and say, you don't have this, you don't have this. No, I want to involve them in the decision-making process. By so doing, it will make them feel important. So when we get to the supermarket, I want to let my clients pick out what he doesn't have by himself. I want to hand over the list to him. I want to point out where each item is located, let him pick the item, put in the basket, of course, if he's able to. And when we get to the cashier, I want to let him pay for what he's bought himself. I want to let him take the receipt by himself. So this is why I'm a support worker. This is what I'm there to do, just to encourage my client to do things that ordinarily they will not be able to do. And at the end, you see that they'll be very happy and they would look forward to shopping. So next time you say we're going shopping, you see that that client will be excited. He wants to go shopping because he knows that he's going to have the right to be able to do what he wants and pick whatever he wants In fact, he can even go outside of the list if he has the money, so you want to make it fun for the client. So all these things you need to explain to the interviewer, and when you start explaining them like this, they will know that, oh, you have an idea and you have passion for what you're going for. What do you consider your strength? So your employer wants to know the strengths that you have that can benefit them, benefit the organization. So this is an opportunity for you to list out your strengths. For example, you want to tell them that you bring a positive attitude to everything that you do. We all know that being positive is a very important role when it comes to being a support worker, okay? Because there are some people you will meet, some clients that you will meet that without that positiveness, without you telling them something good, they will not even leave their spot. So they want to know that you can encourage clients, you can tell them that you can do this, don't doubt yourself, you can do it, you're very smart, you're very knowledgeable, so they want people like this. So now, for example, there was a time I was supporting a boy, during basketball, so it was 1-to-1, and he came to me and said, Miss, I'm so lame, I know we are going to lose. Then I was like, why do you think you're going to lose? Then he said, because look at the other team, they are better than us. Me and my teammates, we are so lame. Then I said, no, don't use such words that because of you, your teammates are going to win. Trust me. He said, no, he doesn't believe that he's not good at basketball. I said, no, I've seen you play. I know what you can do. You're tall, you're smart. You run very fast. So these are advantages that you have over these people. So I kept telling him that, and they won. So he actually scored 3 goals. So you never can tell what your positive attitude that you're bringing to the table might even do to someone. So try as much as possible to tell them these things. It might not be this example I've given. It might be something else that you've done, one thing or another. So you might have put a smile on someone's face in the past because of what you said or what you did. So you might think it's nothing, but it's actually something to the person listening to you. So the next question is, what do you consider your weaknesses? Please do not say that you don't have a weakness, all right? So if you say that, they will just know you're lying, because there's nobody that doesn't have a weakness. What you want to do is you want to turn your weakness into something positive. Mention something that is actually related to work and not outside of work. So you want to mention a weakness, but you also want to say what you are doing to improve on that weakness. So for example, you can say that because I love my job so much, I tend to bury myself in my job and I do not really ask for help. I know that in every organization there are qualified people who can actually render help when asked. So this is actually a weakness of mine that I'm trying to work on. What would you bring to the position if hired? So guys, this is actually an opportunity for you to sell yourself, okay? Sell yourself and nothing short. You want to talk about your qualities, talk about your best qualities. So before you go for the interview, I'm sure you would have made a list of your best qualities, even the ones you didn't know you had. Make a list of them. Tell them about how you're resilient, you're compassionate, you're a team player, you always bring a positive attitude to everything you do. Tell them how you can organize games for clients or for the people you support. Tell them how you can take them out. If you're a chess player, tell them that on weekends you can be able to organize a chess competition. You can teach them how to play. Tell them how you can make sure that every moment counts, with the person that you're supporting, no matter whatever they're passing through, that you always bring smiles to their face because you're a smiley person, you're a very jovial person, you're very positive. This is the opportunity for you to actually sell yourself, okay? So I might not be the best person to tell you what you have or the qualities you have, but you yourself, you know what you have, okay? So make sure to list them out the best way that you can. Tell them that in your former job that you had a client that would not transition from one activity to another, that so many people found it hard to work with that client, but whenever you were around, they would always call you because the client only listened to you. But that was because you had that act of persuasion. You knew what to say and when to say it. List your best qualities and let them know. So now the next question is, what is safeguarding? So safeguarding is the act of protecting children and vulnerable adults from harm, abuse, and neglect. So what do you do when you find out that someone has been abused? So the first thing you do when you find out that someone has been abused is to make a complaint. First of all, even before you make a complaint, make sure to talk to that person. Let the person know that you're not going to be covering it. You're going to report straight away. Do not promise not to tell. That is very important. Do not promise not to tell. Make sure to report to your line manager or your manager or your safeguarding leader if you have one. And do not sugarcoat. Do not change anything that has been said to you. Do not promise I will say this, I won't say this. No, make sure you tell everything and make sure you document it, how it was said, when it was said, where it was said, okay, the people that were there. If not just you, make sure to document it, okay, because when they start investigating, you would have to say what you've heard and what you did about it and what you did not do about it. You would have to come and write a report. So safeguarding is actually very crucial, and also make sure to follow your company's safeguarding policies while you're at it. So they might ask you this question: so what do you do if asked to administer medication to a client? So first of all, if you are interviewing for a role that is say like a senior position, like a senior support worker position, and you've been trained for medication, of course you will do your job when asked to, okay? But if you're not a senior support worker yet, or you've not been trained to administer medication, just tell them that in as much as you love your job, you love to help clients, you're passionate about helping clients, you would not administer a medication to a client except you've been trained for it. Okay, so that is actually the right answer for that question. You don't want to be doing medication when you're not trained. Even though you've watched people administer medication to clients, you as long as you're not trained, you should not be administering medication to anybody. Another question is, what do you do when someone with epilepsy falls down? So this is a very, very important question, and I was asked this question during my interview, and as at then, I had not worked with people with epilepsy, okay? So but I only had a very little knowledge of epilepsy, and I didn't even know what medication they needed to take and all that. I only knew I had a friend back in university that had epilepsy, and she would fall down, and all we did was just to like protect her head from getting hurt. So during my interview, I told them that though I do not have any like working experience with people with epilepsy, but this is what I would do when it happens. And they actually said, yeah, this is the best thing for you to do because you've not been trained for it. So if you've not been trained to administer medication to epilepsy patients or clients with epilepsy, what you need to do is just to support their head, make sure they are not hurt. You can turn them to their side, and that's it. So another question that you can be asked is, what is your salary expectation for this role? So before you actually interview for any role, you want to find out what the company is paying. Even though you cannot see it, like say see the exact figure, you can check on Indeed and you will see the salary range for the particular role you are actually interviewing for. So make sure to like do your research well before answering this question, because you want to be earning higher than what you've been previously earning. So you want to go a little bit higher than what you've earned before. You don't want to be on the same salary range, especially if you have experience for this particular role you're interviewing for. So if you have the experience, make sure to go higher than what you've earned before. So the next question is, what do you know about our company? So before you go for any interview, please make sure to do your research. Check Facebook, check Twitter, check LinkedIn, and check the company's website as well. Okay, see what people are saying about that company. If that company is good, if there's a career progression in that company, you want to know all these things. You want to know their motto, what they believe in, their policies. If it is out there, of course, you can always read the kind of people that they help, the kind of people they support. You want to know what people are saying. Like me, before I check for any job, before I apply for any job, I always make sure to go to Indeed, check the company's profile, and read reviews about that company. It's very important. If you're seeing lots of people, maybe out of 100 people, you are seeing 80% of people telling you that this company is bad, this company, there's no improvement, there's no career development, please, I want you to stay away from that company. So you want to make sure to actually do your research very well before interviewing, and try to tell them all what you know about the company, and they'll be very pleased, because you don't want to go there and say, I don't actually know anything about this company, I'm sorry, I've not done my research. They will think you're very unserious. Make sure to have lots of information about the company before you go there. So the last question is, do you have any question for us? Okay, so when you hear this question, just know that your interview has come to an end. So for this, I would advise that you ask them at least 1, 2, or 3 questions if you have any. Even if you don't have any, you can ask them, what's the next step in the hiring process? Okay, that is at least if you don't have anything to ask. But if you've prepared very well, you should be able to ask them a few questions. Ask them about their expectations of you, of course, and ask them about training and development, what it's like in their company, and if there is career advancement or career progression. Okay, and also, even if you don't have anything to ask, you can say, I don't have any question, but I hope I'm selected because I can't wait to join. Now this brings me to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a thing or two from it, and I'll be doing a part 2 of this video soon. So please drop your comments down in the comment section of what you think you want me to talk about in my next video, and I'll be very pleased to talk about it. So watch out for subsequent videos to come, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.